With the new Mission Impossible film coming out, which is supposedly the final one, I'm reviewing all the films in the series, and we've made it to the 5th one, Rogue Nation, which came out in 2015.
This video contains spoilers.
Before I hop into the review, keep in mind this is all just my opinion. Share what you think about the movie in the comment section down below. And without any further ado, let's hop right into it. So the story here is very straightforward. It's basically about the agents trying to fight this syndicate that's doing a very good job of covering their tracks. And then you have the CIA wanting to shut down the IMF because they believe they've done more harm than good. And it actually kind of reminds me of how in Batman v Superman, people were mad at Superman for destroying the city. And then the same thing happened with the Avengers and Captain America Civil War. And it's basically the same thing they kind of do with the IMF in this movie, except this came out before both of those movies. So maybe they were the copycats after all. I will say though, this movie does feel like it takes a while to get some momentum going, but the second half is absolutely great. So of course you have the main character Ethan Hunt in here, played by Tom Cruise, and he's just really committed to stopping the syndicate. Of course this movie introduced the Alec Baldwin character where he's the CIA director and he doesn't really believe that the syndicate is actually real. Of course we see a lot of Jeremy Renner's character in this movie, and then Benji and Luther both kind of help with this mission a lot. And I think the 4 guys you have working together in the second half of this movie is like the perfect team in my mind. It's the best characters in the franchise all pulled together. Now, of course, they kind of end up doing a little bit of a love story towards the end of the movie with one of the syndicate agents and Tom Cruise's character, which, I mean, it just felt a little bit forced. You don't have to do that in every movie in the franchise, but she had been a major character throughout this whole movie, so you knew that was where they were going to go with it. I will say though, the villain is once again forgettable. I don't know why, but this franchise honestly does a terrible job of having memorable villains. This is one of the better ones, but that's not saying much. So there's a large variety of different types of fighting in here, just similar to the other movies. There's some pretty impressive stunt work as usual and some twists here and there. The movie really starts getting interesting to me in the scene where they're going in the underwater vault. I mean, the absolute best way to have tension is when a character needs to hold their breath for a certain amount of time. And then you get this awesome car chase that turns into a motorcycle chase, and then it kind of just builds up to the final battle, which I do find very impressive. I will say though, there are a couple parts in this movie where it feels like people should have been badly injured.
What?
Like, it's not a huge stretch that he wouldn't have died, but it is a huge stretch that he just walked that off. And of course, you can say that about different stuff in other movies in this franchise, but here I just really found it to be pretty noticeable. So when it comes to the costume design, the cinematography, and all that different stuff, I think this movie does a pretty good job of it for Mission Impossible standards. Of course, as usual, you have the main Mission Impossible theme song in here, and I think this movie actually did an exceptionally good job of kind of incorporating that theme into different parts of the movie and just remixing it a little to fit the tone of whatever scene it is. So overall, I thought this was a solid film in the franchise. It has its flaws, but it also has its strengths. On the quality scale of 0 to 100, I'll give it a 78%, and I would recommend it if you're a fan of this franchise. Again, if you've seen it, let me know what you think about it in the comments section down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.